The Huntsville, Alabama 2023 real estate numbers are in, and we're also going to look at the predictions for the 2024 market for Huntsville, Alabama as well. But before we jump into that, make sure you hit subscribe below to stay on top of all of the latest Huntsville, Alabama real estate news. So total sales continue to decline from the peaks of 2020 and 2021. 2022 was a down year with 8,353 sales. We were down even further in 2023, down to 6,796 sales. We're dating all the way back to the 2017 levels with that number. We're down a total of 29% from that peak, and we're also down 20.6% from the 5-year rolling average. Even with the overall number of sales declining about 30% from the peak, our average sales price continues to climb. We're up 2.3% from last year, so 2022 to 2023. We were up a little over 367 in 2022. Now we're over 375, pushing 376 as the average sales price for 2023. That's a whopping 94.3% increase since 2013, which just shows the value of inflation and how that affects home prices. Fast forward another 10 or 11 years, I think we're going to see another dramatic increase in home prices as well. Days on market did increase dramatically from 2022 to 2023. It was an insanely low number in 2022 with 12 days on average for the average home to sell. We're up to 31, which is still considered kind of that seller's market. It's dramatically lower than what we peaked at, which was in 2014. That peak was 115 days, which was nearly 4 months for the average days on market for your average sale. We do, however, have some great news for home buyers with inventory being up 47.5%. We were at 1,093 homes available on the market in 2022. Now we're up to 1,612 for the 2023 market. However, that is down 49.2% from the peak of 2014, where we hit 3,176 homes, which is really closer to where we need to be because we have this 6 million home deficit across the country and simply not enough homes available on the market, which is why we're seeing that rampant increase in not only inflation, but also in increased valuations of homes. So that is starting to show up with increased inventory though, where we have more supplies on the market. We had 1.6 months worth of supply back in 2022. We are up to 2.9 months worth of supply, so a little bit healthier number. Really what you want to see is that 4 to 6 month window to be kind of that balanced market where you're not a buyer market or a seller's market. So we are technically still in a seller's market, even though it doesn't feel like it since we've been in kind of that extreme seller's market over the last couple of years. So supply is heading in the right direction, but we're still, again, we're down like 63.4% from the 2014 peak, which was 8 months, which was considered a buyer's market. So we don't want to be quite at 8 months, but we definitely want to be higher than that 2.9 months market if we want to be considered a balanced market in Huntsville. So as we wrap up 2023, let's look at 2024 and the predictions that we made for 2024. The first one was interest rates. We're predicting, we're really just taking the Fed's word on interest rates coming down, and they're predicting 3 rate drops here in 2024. And so the impact I think that's going to have, again, that's not always a direct correlation because we're more tied to that 10-year treasury yield for interest rates on 30-year and 15-year mortgages. You know, however, I do think that's going to have an impact on interest rates this year, especially being an election year. So our prediction was mid-6s on conventional and then high 5s on government loans. I do think we might actually see slightly lower rates, maybe even into the low 6s on conventional loans for 2024. So I don't think we'll see anything higher than those mid-6s. So I think that's where we're going to land, is low to mid-6s on conventionals, and then really kind of that 5.75 to 5.9 range for government loans by the end of 2024. The second prediction was on home sales. So nationally, I'm predicting a 4.5 million home sales across the US, which is down from the 6 million home, what we saw north of 6 million homes in the US during those peak periods a couple of years ago. But that is up from last year. And I do think we'll see a 10 to 15% increase in units. We don't have all the local numbers in yet, but everything that we're seeing from local numbers and then also from our team perspective is everything is actually trending up. Here locally at our company at Matt Curtis Real Estate, we saw our second highest sales month in the last couple of years in February. And February is not typically the strongest sales month. So units of sold definitely looks like they're trending up here in the Huntsville market. Third prediction is on new construction. I think it's going to be a good year for builders, as interest rates are going to start to come down likely probably around the summer time frame. I don't think they're going to have to offer as many incentives. I've seen some builders continue to load up on incentives, and I've seen some of those builders start to kind of dwindle those incentives down as they're starting to see better sales numbers. And I think that's going to continue to be the trend in 2024. And I think that new construction pricing is really going to drive the market. And so as builders are able to offer less, interest rate and other incentives, that's going to help set the bar in terms of resales as well in this market. Because one of the biggest challenge for a lot of sellers and resales is that they've been having to compete with all this new construction promotions that are out there with interest rates. And so if builders aren't offering those competitive interest rate promotions, it's really going to free up the margins for existing home sales to be able to get a higher price and not have to come down dramatically like they were starting to have to towards Q4. So I think new construction is going to be strong in 2024. And I think that's going to have a spillover effect into existing home sales as well. So my number 4 prediction was on rent prices. Everybody was predicting that rents are going to continue to go up, with a lot of would-be buyers are sitting on the sideline with higher mortgage rates. So the smart money was predicting that rents are going to continue to increase because of that increased lack of buyer pool, just renters for those rental units. However, I was predicting that we're going to see a 5% increase in those rent rates. However, I think that prediction of the 5 predictions is going to be the one that is wrong. And the reason I think that is because of the numbers that I've recently seen for apartment complexes coming online in Huntsville, Alabama in 2024. It looks like we're going to see twice the number of units come online in 2024 as we saw all of 2023. 2023, we saw too many apartments come online. 2024, we are definitely going to see too many apartments come online as we are extremely overbuilt in terms of apartment complexes. And so that is going to have a huge factor on apartment rents and then also single family rents across the market as well. So I don't think we're going to see a 5% increase. I think we're going to actually see a decrease. Now the actual decrease is probably going to be skewed because a lot of these apartment complexes are offering free rent, 1 month, 2 months. I even heard somebody offering 3 months worth of free rent. And so that numbers is not going to affect the average rent rate, but it is going to definitely affect the overall rental market in Huntsville for 2024. And then that last prediction is on home values. I predict that we're going to see a 5% increase. I did predict we could see double digits if we see rates go to 5.5% or below. I don't think we're going to see interest rates go to that number. So I think that 5% increase is a healthy prediction for 2024. And based on the home sales that we're seeing so far, and then also the amount of extra inventory coming available in the marketplace, as well as a lot of these folks that were kind of locked into their mortgages are coming off of those 2% and 3% rates to sell their homes and move on with their lives because they are seeing lower interest rates and just really ready to move on with their lives. And so we are having increased demand, but we're also having increased supply as well. And so I don't think our demand is going to outrun our supply in 2024. So I think a kind of an average 5% increase is what we're going to see for 2024.